Joining us now is the mayor of Aurora, Mike Coffman. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. I know you've been doing this for some time now. What have you experienced during those stays at the shelter?
Sure. Well, I think we have an incentive-based program with three component parts. And the first part for people who are recently unhoused or who are just off the street is a low barrier shelter that is austere by design to get people, to incentivize people to move to other parts of our program where they're engaged in addiction recovery, mental health, job training, and then individual rooms for people working full time. But still need some services, transitional housing. And so it's been an incredible experience to meet with people where they are and to be there on Friday afternoon, spend the night with them, help serve breakfast in the morning. So it's every Friday night they see me. And it's just important to be consistent. But it's a way that they can share with me the way I can better understand their challenges. And it's also about leadership. I come from a military background, never order anybody to do something that you yourself would not do. So it's important to be there with them, and they're my constituents too.
Yeah, I wonder logistically, I mean, you're the mayor, you get there, you've been doing this for some time. Is it a big entourage? Do you kind of settle in? Is there a line of people that want to talk to you? Like, what do you hear from those that are in the shelter with you?
Well, there's certainly always people that want to talk to me. But I always come up to people as well to see how they're doing. People might be new to the shelter. Have they seen a case manager yet? How are they doing? Do they have any plans about how to move forward with their life? And so, and the people that are chronically homeless that really have significant mental health disorders or addiction problems to really understand their challenges. And so it's not unique anymore for them, the mayor's here. Well, no big deal. He's here every Friday. He's here, but it really gives you an understanding of the complexity of the problem that we're confronted in terms of trying to deal with homelessness and how challenging it is. And to be able to meet with the same people in some instances, week after week after week, to track their progress and see how they're doing.
What's been the most surprising part of understanding that complexity?
Yeah, I think people, obviously the mental health issues where people are ill, but they don't know they're ill. They don't rise to the level of being a threat to themselves or a threat to someone else, to where you can mandate any kind of treatment. And so that's I'm trying to better understand that and how to move that population forward. I think that's been a big challenge. But for the people that a lot of people, with their month-to-month income, cost of living is high in this area, and they lose their housing, they're on the street. It's difficult to get back up. But people that just have economic challenges can quickly move through the process. It's people that are chronically homeless and have maybe it's addiction disorders or mental health. It's tougher to move them through. And it's understanding how best to do that and how best to work with partners outside of the shelter that can help them. And so, but it's great being there and being able to see certainly new people coming in, but also the people that have been there week after week and seeing, hey, what progress did you make? How'd the week go for you? And so that's just, it's been an incredible experience. It's been a humbling experience. I mean, to be with people that don't have anything, it changes your perspective. And it's not that you're looking at them from the outside, that you're in the inside with them. I think in that picture, I was wearing construction earphones, but they were so uncomfortable. Now I've adjusted to just having normal earplugs, but it can be very noisy, and they allow dogs. And so they sometimes bark at night. So it's a challenge, but this is a challenge that they face. And so it's great to have a mayor with them that understands what their day-to-day challenges are for the people you're trying to help.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, I mean, every Friday you're there, but then it's their reality. You are able to go back to your home. I mean, some are seeing this and they're commending you for bringing awareness and for actually seeing the complexity up close. Others are seeing this as performative. How do you respond?
Well, I wish they would do it, and they wouldn't think it's performative. If they were there sleeping on a cot, with me week after week. But I think it's important to do that. I mean, if they want to leave from being on a couch, in a comfortable setting, I think that's fine. I believe in leading from the front, and this is an important component part of that. I commend anybody that's trying to understand the challenges of homelessness. And yes, I'm very grateful for what I have. And I realize that every morning, Saturday morning, when I leave the shelter, after serving breakfast, what I do have, and I appreciate that. But I also gain an appreciation for the challenges that these people have. And I hope that more elected officials and policymakers go out of their way to experience what these people are experiencing as best they can and get closer to where the problem is.
Yeah, big difference between words and actions. Thank you for reminding us of that. Mayor Mike Coffman, thanks again.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.